Ugly by design. How British supermarkets shame you into spending more money. We're going to find that out from Girl Gone London. She is the one who brings this to us. The link for her will be in the description below. Please go over and show her some love. Tell her your island girls sent you. All right, so ugly by design. What is ugly by design? And how does British supermarket shame you into spending more money? We're going to find that out right now. So don't forget to hit the like and hit the subscribe button. And when it comes to one and all, let's get into this video. Here we go right about now.
Quick challenge. Look at these cans of baked beans. Same contents, same size, but can you guess which one is the value brand? Now here's the twist, because you already know. Even if the labels were blurred, you'd probably still guess right, because UK supermarkets have spent decades designing it that way. Walk into any Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrison's, Asda, any supermarket you want, and head for the staple section. Things like pasta, rice, beans, or tinned tomatoes, or tomatoes if you're British. And you'll find something pretty interesting baked right into the packaging.
What do you find baked right into the packaging? The value brands or tend to be whichever supermarket that you're in. That's their design. That tend to be the value brand. And sometimes I don't even know if it's really different from the high quality. Maybe a tad little taste different, because sometimes it's the same company that make it. But let's hear what she have to say. That's just my 2 cents. Do you guys think the same?
There's a hierarchy, a silent system of class and status baked right into it. At that level, you've got the branded goods. That's where the Heinz goes. You've got labels with warm reds, glossy greens, things that say like authentic, sun-ripened, Tuscan ready. Now look just below that and you'll see the supermarket's own premium range. This is like Tesco's finest, and Sainsbury's tastes the difference. You've got elegant blacks, navy blues, gold foil fonts. There's a story on the back about a farm that's probably not even true. And then lower down, maybe even literally on the bottom shelf, there's the value line. Now,
hold on. She said, listen, underneath that premium shelf, which is at Island, there's another level, and there's a story on the back of it which is maybe not even true. They're selling you a storyline. She said, listen, and then on the low, but she's right. The when you look, the premium in an eye-catching, and I've never even thought about it that way, but she is so right. Right in your line of sight. Those big brands, bright colors, catching to the eye. And the value brand always up on the bottom of the shelf when you think about it. Like poor people stuff they down on the bottom. That's interesting. I never really look into it. Guys, I don't really buy, most of the time when you walk into supermarket and whatever is at eye level, you're paying for brand. Because, like I said, they taste the same most of the time.
Oh, the colors shift. So you have bright yellow, hospital white, traffic light red. The fonts get plain and blocky and kind of aggressive, like it's a warning. There's no food styling, no fancy adjectives, just baked beans or chopped tomatoes. It's no frills, and here's the important part. This isn't just about saving money or ink. Designers call it visual signposting, a way to make sure that even from across the aisle, you know what's cheap, what's middle class, and what's posh. But beneath that is a deeper strategy, not designed to inform you, but designed to make you feel something. And that something is shame, because shame means you'll buy the more expensive items, the ones with the bigger profit margins for the store.
I think she has it right here, you know. I'm going to go out on a limb with you on this one and say she right. So I guess what she's saying is like, you don't really, when you're in the supermarket, you don't really want to go down if you see somebody in the line. You're pressured to buy the big brand name instead of picking up the value brand on the bottom, which makes sense because people are going to look at you a certain way. Like I said, I've never really thought about it that way. She is so right. Because here in America, it is the same way. The value brand upon the bottom of the shelf, the supermarket brand or the chain brand is not on the middle aisle at all. It's not that island going horizontally. It is never that way. And the labeling is not as bright. So I wonder if a lot of people know this.
Rewind to the early 1990s, a time of changing consumer habits and increasing price sensitivity in the UK. Supermarkets were locked into a fierce price war. Tesco, Sainsbury's, and Asda were all trying to outdo each other with lower prices, better loyalty schemes, and more expensive product lines. In this environment, a new concept emerges: value ranges. The idea was simple. For shoppers who just needed the basics, cheap and functional, there'd be a no-frills line of food and household goods. Tesco launched Tesco Value in 1993. Asda followed with Asda Smart Price. Sainsbury's was known as Sainsbury's Basics, and Morrison's followed later with M Savers. But what stood out about these ranges wasn't just the low price point. It was the packaging. Tesco Value, for example, used white backgrounds with blue and red stripes, the exact same color scheme as a generic government document.
Funny enough, that is Walmart's branding. That white and blue screen, that right there. Yep.
Product names were written in a basic sans serif font. There's no imagery, no description, just cornflakes, kind of like rations. And this was intentional. Designers behind these ranges said that the point wasn't just to strip back design to save money, it was to actually design something to create a visual language of frugality. These products needed to look basic, plain, almost institutional, because they're meant to appeal to shoppers who weren't choosing to buy the cheaper option. They were almost forced into it. You weren't meant to be proud of your money saving on your 19-piece spaghetti hoops. You were meant to feel grateful that they existed at all. These products use design elements like plain fonts with no personality or emotion, very minimal color palette, often choosing to use colors associated with warnings or caution. Then again, you've got the generic labeling and no branding or mascots. These are all there to communicate utilitarianism, not pleasure. In design terms, this strategy is known as aesthetic distancing.
Aesthetic distancing isn't signposted. This is interesting. Guys, I would not think like people think like this. Advertisers think like this, or companies think like this. But at the end of the day, it's for their gain too as well when they do stuff like that. But it is sad that you do that too, because you're putting people in certain category, which I understand. You have the middle class. I understand that people who make a certain money. So you're prompting to feeling, okay, this is what you can afford. You should be appreciative, or that it's there, that you can afford this. That's messed up. That's depressing when you think about it.
Of intentionally unattractive or sterile visuals to create separation from more desirable products. And it worked, at least for a while. Fast forward a few years, and these visual strategies became ingrained in supermarket culture. If you ask consumers today what they associate with the old Tesco value packaging, you'll hear words like poor, depressing, or shameful. Research actually supports this. A 2012 study published by the Journal of Retailing and Consumer Services found that customers reported negative self-perception when putting value range items in their basket. Even if the product's quality was fine, the packaging signaled low status, and people felt judged both by others and themselves. And it's not just the packaging, it's where the products live in the store. Basic items are almost always placed on the bottom shelf, what's called the dead zone in retail marketing. Eye-level shelves are the most valuable real estate, obviously. They're reserved for products with higher margin, usually branded goods or premium own label ranges. The reason is simple, because most people scan shelves horizontally at around their shoulder height. Placing low-margin products on the bottom means fewer people will see or even consider them.
Interesting. Man, you gotta study these stuff in order to figure it out, because it's true. People scan from a mile away, shoulder. Imagine that. You're looking at products in your line of sight, shoulder length, going from left to right. You don't necessarily tend to want to look down, and you don't tend to look all the way up, which is so true. But can you imagine when they did that survey, how people feel depressed for the value brand because it's on the dead zone, it's on the bottom? They feel depressed. They feel, wow, that's crazy. But I can understand where they're coming from with that feeling, because, yeah, Why not mix it with the premium area with the high-end brand? And like she said, and I said, they're pretty much saying the same. Because some of the time when you look at these stuff, when you look at the ingredients, there's nothing different. It's just the packaging, period, or the name of the brand company. That's it. And sometimes the ones that are not even labeled as a brand eat better, taste better, a lot of times. And I really do feel like, even though the brand name, let me put it this way. I feel like the brand name company is the same company that makes the stuff for the store-bought brand. They're the same manufacturer. That's the word I'm looking for. Same manufacturer, just different labeling. I really believe that.
It's like hiding them in plain sight. In fact, a 2016 study found that by simply moving a product from the bottom shelf to eye level, it increased the sales by over 25%, regardless of the branding.
Wow.
Visibility drives decisions. Then came a twist in this story. All the way from Germany. Aldi and Little entered the UK market not just with low prices, but with a different kind of design philosophy. Their own brand products were cheap, yes, but they didn't look cheap. They looked normal, sometimes even premium. Their packaging mimicked the big brands in color, font, and even layout. Their frozen pizzas looked like branded ones. Their cereals came in bright, cheerful boxes with friendly mascots. Their wine bottles had corks and fake heritage on the labels. They understood something crucial. You can sell cheap food without making people feel cheap. And British shoppers responded. By 2024, Aldi and Little had captured over 17% of the UK grocery market. Their success forced the Big Four to reconsider how they treated budget-conscious customers. Now, Tesco...
Oh, there you have it. It took one... So these people studied the market. Made sense. Because when you're competing with others, you got to do what works for you. But it makes sense. Package just like the big brands. People will see, they look the same. You won't feel of a lesser quality, and the little man won't feel a certain way, which makes sense. But even though they're doing that, that doesn't mean that they don't want to make a profit. You know, don't get me wrong. I get it, but I'm like, either way, you're still playing on people's emotion when it comes on to shopping.
Retired the Tesco value brand in 2016, replacing it with a softer looking everyday value. And later with brands like Stockwell & Co. and Hearty Food Co., designed to sound more like traditional wholesome suppliers.
Yep.
Asda launched Just Essentials in bright yellow, which was controversial still in the design, but undeniably more visible and less institutional than its Smart Price predecessor. And then came the cost of living crisis. By late 2022, UK food inflation was climbing above 16%, with some staples rising even higher. Pasta up 25%, milk up 35%, eggs up 28%. Food banks were overwhelmed, and a new kind of customer entered the budget aisle. Not just low-income families, but middle-class households squeezed by energy bills and stagnant wages. And the supermarkets responded, not with a marketing blitz, but with something simpler: toning down the design judgment. New product lines dropped the harsh fonts and clinical colors. They were still cheap, but now they carried softer language, like simple, hearty, or essential. No longer value, because value had become code for bare minimum.
Interesting. So instead of saying value brand, they take the word of value off their branding, change the color tone to make middle class and that's a good strategy. You gotta give them that due. But here in America, I don't think they have picked up on that. The UK did right. The British supermarket chains, they are thinking. Because come on, with inflation, a lot of people are watching the money that they spend. It's not like one time people just go out and shop. No. These food banks and all come into play. People are struggling out here. So I can see why they change the whole packaging to make people feel comfortable, to not make people feel less than. I really like this video. So the cost of living crisis changed the trajectory of how supermarket labeled their own item. Wow.
The shame in shopping was slowly being dialed down. For example, take a look at Sainsbury's own brand called Stamford Street Co. From natural yogurt to cheese to kitchen towel, this is just Sainsbury's value brand. But the design doesn't make shoppers feel quite as bad about what they can or cannot afford.
Makes sense.
In fact, the design can look quite nice. The other day, I walked into the kitchen to find some Sainsbury's own brand baked beans that my husband bought, and before I realized they were the value brand, I thought, oh, he sprung for the branded baked beans. Nope, just a more upscale design. But they're not doing it for your benefit. They're doing it for their own pocketbooks,
exactly,
as any company would, and I wouldn't be surprised if the ugliest and more plain designs came back during economically prosperous times when they think people do have the money in their accounts to spend a bit more. And from a pure marketing perspective, you can't fault them. It's pretty genius.
They have to make a profit.
It's easy to sit here and be morally outraged at the fact that it's some people's jobs to manipulate you into spending more. But that's what happens with any company trying to make a profit. They want you to buy the products with the larger margins. But as a consumer, that doesn't mean you have to fall for it. Compare prices, regardless of what the design looks like, and do your own taste test before deciding that the value brand isn't as good. Just because something has a nicer design doesn't mean that it's actually any better. Often it's probably made in the same place, so be savvy when you shop.
I said that earlier.
To the end of this video. As always, thanks very much for watching. Leave your comments below, and I'll see you next time.
Bye, Mama. I did enjoy that video of hers right there. She is right. Probably made by the same manufacturer. Not only that, I will not be guilted in buying brand. Sorry, if it's doing the same thing, shop around, because any way you can save $1, of course I'm going to try my best to save $1. Because like I said, so many times I buy these value brands. Apparently US haven't gotten the memo I said, because most of these supermarkets, when you go in there, it tells you their value is on it. And I think they should change that word. I think I'm on board with that concept, because you don't feel any way picking it up. But as for me, I don't care. It tastes the same to me. So, some of these items really do taste the same when you think about it. I'm like, oh, the packaging may look cheap, but it tastes good. And like I said, I will not be forced in buying brand because it's just a name, and spending $5-6 different to something I can get for $2. Oh no, not in this economy, not with having so many kids. No way, no how. No. Very good video by her. That's one thing I love about her. She do her research before she put anything forward. Love her content. It's your island girl. Let me know your thoughts on this one, guys. Did you really think the way she did? Have you ever thought about it like this before? Because I certainly have. It's a shocker to me that this was done, but I get it. I get where they're coming from. You got to make a profit some way, somehow. So, but I'm like, you got to go out there and study the market to get this, to get it to that extreme, to work when inflation, when the economy is booming. It's crazy. Packaging, wow. Eye level, wow. I've never thought of it that way. I just look at it as, I'm like, whatever. That's just a brand. I'm not just buying it because of the name on it. But a lot of people don't shop that way. And to know that people felt depressed because, are they looked down on because of where the product is put and the labeling, that's interesting to me. But I get it. Be good, be kind, be safe out there. Love each other. Stay cool. I know it's hot there in the UK. I hope you guys are doing okay. I hope the drought is not really affecting you guys. Keep you guys in my thoughts. Love you guys to the max, and I'll definitely catch you guys in another video. Don't forget to give this one a big thumbs up. It tells YouTube that you like the content that I'm pushing out. If you have a request for me, put it in the comment section. If you wish to support the channel in another way, there's a join button on the channel where you can become a member. Once you click on it, you see all the exclusive perks that are offered. See you guys in another one. Bye. Yes.